All right, fam. We've heard a million drop down messages in our lives. So I called this dropping down with some spice. So um so so basically Kelly reached out, asked me to talk about a couple things. Yeah, a little salt bay action. As a white person, obviously salt makes everything spicy. So I'm not from Texas either, so I have no tongue for spice at all. Um, but so again, she basically just reached out and asked me again, talk about again, kind of how to judge again a person that's a value shopper or a person that is more of a price shopper. And for me, I think to start off with, again, it's like the question that we always ask ourselves is, okay, when should we actually drop down to a specific or smaller package? Also, how do we like better understand if a customer is more of a price shopper or a value shopper? That can kind of be hard to tell sometimes. So when you do you just offer free stuff, or when you figure it out, do you again, like, what's the timing and dropping the price? Like, how much should you give? How much should you take off the price? Of course, this is all situational based, so we got to keep that in perspective here. But being more prepared with your pitch and just your process is going to help you a ton just to close more orders, and it'll also just most importantly maximize your profit. So keeping this in mind, like, I actually had a really good conversation with Carlton. I don't know if you remember at Carlton, but we were a couple of Kool-Aids deep at the house at Net before Net actually happened, and it was a great conversation about this same topic, which is he had more of a perspective or an argument for why it's better to just drop the price. And I'll be the first to admit that I've lost deals for sure because I didn't budge on the price, either at all or enough for a customer. And I know a few of you guys can say the same. And a while back, I mean, 7 years ago when I first started like doing events, I would be the first to say I gave some of the stupidest, dumbest deals ever on Cutco. So, but I got the order, but I'm not proud of how little I made on the set that I sold. So points being made on both sides. Like, I've been on both sides of the table, but I found over the last like 3 years specifically that I've kind of found a happy medium. So today we're just going to cover a few talking points on kind of what you guys can work into your scripts to kind of help you guys help the customer find a solution to just saying yes faster, being more comfortable with saying yes with you, and then also them walking away feeling happy in the fact that they did get a good deal. So first things first, what I love most about Texoma, guys, is you guys are people that put in the work behind the scenes. So first reminder today is practice your drop down approach. I feel like we talk a lot about practicing your value pitch, or selling people on the ultimate set, or selling cookware, or selling flatware, price comparison, all that kind of stuff out there. But the drop down is such a huge area of opportunity. I think that most of us have within this business. So one of the things that, again, Seth and Kelly, you guys can both attest to this. Like, we probably at our team meetings probably talked about the drop down and role played the drop down process probably 4 or 5 times within the last year. So one of the things that I've noticed now is that within my approach, it's not robotic. Again, I practiced it so many freaking times that when a customer says they need to think about it, I don't fidget. I just kind of expect it, right? Because think about it, maybe 10% of our orders that we sell are like a person said, yes, let's just do that right away. It's not the most, like, again, thing that happens most frequently. So since I expect it, I just feel comfortable handling it. And a lot of this is done, again, behind the scenes. So role playing, again, I've asked the 6 or 7 quick, simple drop down questions, pre-trial close questions so many times that the customer thinks that I'm coming up with the stuff on the fly, right? Because it sounds like we're having a conversation, just me being a genuine person asking them, again, kind of what's holding them back. So they aren't being sold, especially they don't feel high pressure, which is probably one of the fine lines that a lot of people feel like when they're trying to close a deal. It's like, am I being high pressure to say, yeah, if I drop the price, or if I give you this for free, we just do it? And we don't, of course, ever want to be high pressure. So first things first, the second a person, again, says they need to think about it, and we're not talking about handling objections today at all, guys. I'm just going to kind of walk you through the process really quick of a quick drop down. But the thing we're going to focus on most is positioning how to sell more on value. And because at the end of the day, I think we'd all agree that we want to sell more homemakers or the free shears than having to give $150 off. I think we can all be in agreement with that. So we're going to leverage that more. And I think that once we're done talking about this conversation, or once we're done on this today, I think you guys will kind of be like, I feel more comfortable, again, just giving free stuff and not having to take a hit off my commission. But we're also going to talk about kind of the fine line on when you would want to take a cut off your commission as well. So again, the second a person says, I need to think about it, I need to talk to my wife, whatever the objection they give you is, that's again, when you guys, it's time to do some digging. and to see kind of what customer this is. So you break out your handy dandy deal pad and just get to work. So again, we did a deal pad in North Star where we basically like created a deal pad that actually has like the 6 or 7 questions that are on it. It's not like actually on it. It's just a bunch of the little like cherry or honey, classic or pearl, 5-pay or in full, like little things like that to kind of help basically our newer reps on our team remember what to ask for. But it kind of just helps you, again, remember the things you should ask. So how to properly drop down or close has everything to do with asking quality questions and also helping you figure out if this person that's a value shopper or a price shopper. So helping them envision the set in their kitchen, by the way, guys, and asking them those quality questions of like cherry or honey, for example, it really helps them think about like what it would be like to have Cutco in their kitchen. And then you can give them the extra deal or get them to say yes, whether that's money off or free stuff or both. So here's a few questions that I asked to just make sure we're on the right set. And if I threw in stuff or dropped the price, they'd actually be open to saying yes today, right? Not lingering on a set. Because how many times have you guys been on a homemaker, for example, trying to figure out if you can give them a good deal? You get down to like $10.50 with a free shears and a pizza cutter, and they still walk away. And you're like, what the hell? You probably wasted 30 to 45 minutes of your life, and they're not coming back, right? So it's like, okay, how can we eliminate that altogether? So the questions that I asked right away is, okay, cool. So just let me jot a couple things down for you while you're thinking about it. So if you were to get this set today, would this for sure be the set that you wanted? Would you want to go bigger? Would you want to go a little smaller? Just because, you know, we do have some smaller options that might be better. Just depends on kind of your price rate. Or price range? Would you rather go bigger, smaller? Is this like the perfect set? 99% of the time, guys, they'll be like, yeah, this is the set that I want. Perfect. Okay. So real quick, do you guys like the color of the classic? Do you like the pearl? Classic. Perfect. Do you guys like the idea of the cherry or honey? For you guys with block set, you got 2 options. Cherry, awesome, great. Now for you guys, would you guys just pay for it outright, or would you rather kind of split it up like most people do with Cutco? Because again, there's no interest on it. Okay, great, we'd split it up. Okay, cool. Now if you guys really wanted it, would that number, let's say it's a homemaker, would $265 fit into the budget, or would that be pushing the envelope at all? Okay, now it's a whole other conversation about selling people on a 5-pay, guys, but asking people if, like, the way to phrase that question I've found has been so helpful for me. Basically using the question of, okay, could you budget for it, or is that pushing the envelope at all? That basically, guys, is basically a super passive way of asking if they can afford it without being really awkward, right? Because it's, if you think about it at its core, guys, which again, I think Brandon Brown has really inspired me to ask more questions of like why we say certain things. At its core, when a person says, yeah, I can't afford it, it's embarrassing. It's not fun to say. And it's also just not a fun thing to admit at all. So a person's not going to be like, oh, yeah, I can't afford it. That's just awkward. It's like nobody wants to say that. We're just 2 individuals. It's awkward to say, I can't afford it. But using the verbiage of saying, yeah, is that pushing the envelope at all, has helped me so much, like weed through the baloney that people try to give you to say, oh, I can't afford it or I can't afford it. It's like, they're just straight up honest with you. It's like, yeah, that actually kind of is pushing the envelope right now. And usually following that, guys, they're going to give you a couple of things where it's like, yeah, I got a kid going to college. We just remortgaged our house, refinanced our house. We are building a deck. We just bought a truck, whatever it is, doesn't matter. They will usually tell you right away what the big thing is that's holding them back. And you haven't even, like, literally through like 2 minutes ago, you asked them, so what do you think about this? And they're like, yeah, I got to think about it. And that's all they gave you. They didn't give you, oh, there's something that's going on. So that question right there will help you guys drop down properly, but also drop down way, way faster in a more effective way. You're not lingering on a homemaker, an ultimate, or a signature set for 20 minutes to try to figure out if they're actually going to buy it. You're doing all this different stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw this in for free. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to take $100 off. It just eliminates all of that. So again, that question in and of itself, guys, will help you drop down so much faster, not sit there trying to sell a set that they can't actually afford. So let's just say they say yes, right? They say, yeah, I could budget if I wanted to. Okay, cool. Now before you go, I always ask this question, Mrs. Jones. I know you had no intention of coming into the fair today to buy any knives, right? Nobody does. I wish that was the case, but obviously it's not the case. Now on a scale of 1 to 10, Mrs. Jones, you can shoot me straight. I'm not going to be offended. 1 means I'm never going to see you again for the rest of my life. And a 9 means you guys are really close, just pulling out a credit card and being like, damn it, Bert, I really want these damn knives. If you had to give me on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give me? And again, most people that are interested are going to give you a 7 or above, right? So then you use the line that we've all heard a million times, which is, okay, cool. Now, again, I know you didn't come into the show expecting to spend money on knives, but I can tell that you guys would really use them. It sounds like this would be the perfect set for you guys. So you use the stuff that they just gave you. And it sounds like if you could budget for it, it sounds like if you really wanted it, you could budget for it. So since you're here right now and I'm here right now, I'm not saying you're not going to come back. Just sometimes the fair gets really crazy and a lot of people just don't make it back before they leave. So if I could go out of my way and do something a little extra special to earn your business right now, since you're here right now, could I tempt you with an extra special deal? Okay. Nine out of 10 people, guys, that are 7 or above that are actually interested in knives are going to say, well, what could you do? Okay. So this process helps me move towards the ultimate goal of the sale, right? But it's also in the best interest of the customer, right? You have to remember that this is actually in the best interest of the customer that actually wants these knives. They just weren't planning on it right away, right? If they leave, the odds of them coming back, we all know, are extremely small, right? In the grand scheme of things, they're very small. So you have to remember that when you're asking these questions, they're quick. You don't have to make it the super elongated process. This is a 2 to 3 minute thing, but it's helping you help the customer just say yes to something today, right? Josh preaches about it. How fast can you get them to get their credit card out? Get them to say yes as fast as possible. This process helps them envision getting Cutco and also helps them vocalize the fact that they want it. This is the perfect set and they can budget for it, right? So if they end up saying no, what is the big deal? Like, what is the real true objection that they're really like, I don't know if this is like the perfect thing for me or not. Like, what is it? Is it it's too much money or too many pieces? At the end of the day, guys, it's one of those two objections, right? So now the main part of the message that I want to spend time on today is going to be basically talking on this, how to properly position a customer to saying yes without necessarily needing to drop the price, which, by the way, at the end of the day, you're going to have to drop the price. Now, I don't think I'm the only one again here that enjoys selling an ultimate set with like 4 gadgets for free or 3 gadgets for free or a homemaker with a shears for free without having to drop the price. I'm not saying that you can't drop the price, just in an ideal world. Again, I think we'd all agree that we'd rather just give free stuff at the booth, right? Because it helps our profit margin the most. So the needle mover that has worked really well for me in selling more sets with just free stuffs, AKA a few gadgets with a Siggy, or again, a shears and a holster with a homie, is using a pre-trial close before you ever even ask the customer if they want to buy the set you're showing them, okay? So this question really helps me understand really quickly if a customer is a value or a price shopper. And the closing question also helps me understand if they're actually interested in buying a set today for me, or if they're going to object right away, or they're going to put up a front on whatever set they're thinking about, right? So I want you to imagine you're closing on an ultimate set. You pitched it. They picked the set during the 3-set close. You've explained the 5-month option, the trial period. You've explained all that. So I use the momentum of the sales cycle, which, again, by the way, is naturally created in our scripts. Obviously, they're excited about the set. They've envisioned themselves having the set while you're talking about it, how much they're going to use it. So I ride that, and then I ask, so Mrs. Jones, because we're at the state fair, right? So I've already mentioned, again, because we're at the fair, we've got this built-in discount that Cutco allows us to do, right? Or if you're at a service event, or if you're on a service call, or you're just doing a demo. So because I'm on at this event, or because I'm in this sales contest right now, if I was able to do something a little extra special to help you say yes right now, could I tempt you with something a little extra special? So by the way, I did the same, I said almost the exact same thing, right before this when we're handling objections. Okay, so I'll say it again. So because we're at this event, or because I'm in this contest, if I was able to do something a little extra special on top of the built-in discount to help you say yes right now, could I tempt you with a little extra special deal? A little extra special. I literally do this. Seth's seen me do this a million times. A little extra special. It's not something crazy. It's not something turbocharged, not something massive, something crazy, nothing like that. The second you mention the words crazy, out of this world, outrageous, stupid, dumb deal, the customer is immediately thinking 50% off, by the way, if you haven't figured that out. So the second you do that, you're putting yourself in a corner that you're literally screwing yourself. You just don't have the opportunity. You have no wiggle room, right? Because if you give a free $120 shears to a person that thinks they're getting something crazy, again, their expectation of crazy is completely different than what we think we're about to do. Okay, so you have to remember where the customer is at and what we're about to do. So if you do something a little extra special, right? They're like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to get $50 off. Maybe I'll get like a free cutting board. I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? And here's the beautiful thing about this. If you haven't even directly asked for the order yet, guys. So you're basically testing the waters to see if a person wants to buy from you. It's beautiful, right? You haven't said, so do you want to go ahead and get this today? Like super awkwardly, like, you want to buy this? You haven't done anything like that. All you're saying is, so since we're here, I can see that you really like this. If I could do something a little extra special, if I could go out of my way, do something a little extra special to help you say yes right now, would you be open to it? All you're saying is, would you be open to it? Now, the great thing is, if they say no, they'll immediately follow it up with a reason. They'll be like, well, the thing is, we kind of need to think about it. Perfect. No worries. Not a big deal at all. Immediately grab your handy dandy pen and paper and be like, perfect, let me write it down for you. No big deal. It's not like you're going to start handling objections right away. You haven't even asked them for the freaking order yet, guys. You just literally were like, would you think about it? Would you be open to it? You'd be surprised how many people say that are actually interested will say yes. But if they say no to this, guys, it's not a hard no. They don't feel bad about saying no. You also can't feel bad about them saying no either, because you literally haven't even offered them anything for free yet. Nothing. They don't even know what the extra special thing is yet, right? You literally just said, if I could do something a little extra special for you, would you be open to it? They have no freaking idea what it is. It could be anything. And they still said no. So you have to remember that if they said no to this, that means they're probably not necessarily as close as you might think they are on the set that you're on. So most people that say no to this, you're still going to drop down effectively. Usually by the time you get to the fact of, hey, if you wanted to, could you budget for this, or would this push the envelope? I'd say 90% of those people say, no, that's pushing the envelope. It's perfect. Great. You drop down effectively. You drop down to an option. If it's at a busy fair, drop down to an 11 piece or a 13 piece or a galley, whatever you're going to feel the customer out for. But you'd be surprised how many times when you literally just tempt them with nothing. You've tempted them with nothing. This is the crazy thing about this. You've literally thrown out nothing. You just said, if I could tempt you with something, they have no idea what it is, right? So the fact that they don't know what it is means that you've got a ton of ammo, which is a good thing. As much ammo as you can keep in your pocket, guys, the better. Okay. Now, if they say, well, maybe, what are you thinking? I'd say probably 95% of those people, guys, say yes, which is beautiful, right? So you basically got a deal, and whatever they say next, whatever you say next, they're going to be excited about. Okay. Now, imagine they say yes. I say, okay, cool. Well, normally my customers will eventually come back and they'll buy our cutlery care pack from us. So what it comes with is it comes with our forever cutting boards. They're amazing because they got rubber pegs. They've got the lips so it doesn't catch the juices in the melons. Again, they get their cutting boards called forever cutting boards because if they wear out or break, you send them in every 10 years, they'll just send you new ones, blah, 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 blah. Get them piped up about the cutting boards. You'll also get our serrated sharpener. In my opinion, Mrs. Jones, let's say it's Thanksgiving in like 5 years and you're like, I could use my chef knife kind of touched up. I get it that you don't want to be without your chef knife over Thanksgiving. So it's nice to be able to just run it through there 5 to 6 times and it's a super sharp knife again. And it's guaranteed forever as well. So if you're open to it today, I can make sure that those are included in your set. On top of that, most of our customers like to clear out their gadget drawer that we replace a few times a year. And basically what a lot of people like to do about ours is they're also guaranteed forever. So you pick up the 5, learn this from Jason Jeffrey, pick up the 5 and put them in front of their face. Literally in front of their face. Extend over in arms, throw them in front of their face. People will pick, I promise. Right? You've all done it before. Okay. So if you had to pick 3 out of these 5 kitchen gadgets, Mrs. Jones, remember guys, we're on an ultimate set right now. So if you were to pick 3 out of these 5 gadgets, Mrs. Jones, which would you pick? And they'll pick their 3 and then you pitch them on those 3. So if you're getting it, Mrs. Jones, so if you're open to going for it right now, again, you get the Cutco discount price on the set. So you're saving yourself over $600 in the long run. You'll also have all the right tools for the right job. You get, and I highlight the 2 pieces that they're really excited about in the ultimate set. I'll also make sure that cutlery care pack is included. And I'll also personally buy these 3 gadgets for you, which are usually about $150. And all that will be today would be $610. So what do you think? So what does this process do for you guys? That the first off, what I like so much about it is it just starts out by giving you guys extra value and you're not taking anything off the top at all. Thank you, Chelsea. Throw me your credit card. So what's great is that you're literally just throwing out free stuff first. That's great. You're not even mentioning anything about price, which we'll get to in a second here. So what's great is now if someone says, could you go any lower? Right? How many times have we heard that? We've heard it a million times, right? So again, I'm not really sure if I learned this from anybody. I'm pretty sure I came up with this, not to like toot my own horn at all, but it's just kind of something that I started saying and it really worked well, which is there's not really much that I can do on the price because Cutco sets the prices corporately, right? I don't have anything to do with that, right? Nothing to do with that. Thank you, Josh. But what I can do is I can give you extra value by buying things you'll probably purchase later from Cutco. So for example, Mrs. Jones, a lot of people will end up buying our cutting board and our sharpener later. I always start with the things that are included in the set, guys, right? So I'll always make sure that those are set. I don't know if you taught me that. I don't think you did. But anyway, So again, there's nothing that we can do on prices. I'm pretty sure he learned it from me. Let's be honest. I've learned a lot from Seth, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I always say that it probably, again, you're going to purchase later from Cutco, so I'll make sure I buy those for you. Okay. Now, why I say not much, by the way, so specifically, so I say, well, there's not much I can really do on the price. The reason why I say not much versus I can't do anything on the price is that if you, because that if you do end up lowering the price, you just look like a liar. And again, you're just making things up on the fly, and the customer's not going to actually take your word for your bond, right? So you're basically just lying to a customer if you say you can't do anything, okay? Now, we all know that we can include $400 with a homemaker, right, if we really wanted to, and it would probably still Rollo, RIP to Rollo, but it kills your profit. So whenever you use this trial program, it always starts with something small for free. That's what I always do. I don't really ever offer or ever want to get to the point where I'm throwing in the kitchen sink, especially right away, because that doesn't give you any wiggle room, right? And we want wiggle room. Because again, all you're doing, guys, you got to remember, all you're doing is negotiating. Once to the point you have something that somebody wants and you're trying to get to a price that they're excited about, and they walk away feeling like they have a good deal, right? So this is also just gets the conversation moving more towards them giving you their credit card, right? That's the end of the conversation. Like that's the point, is like you're offering them something, not a lot, but you're offering them something to get them moving closer to giving you their credit card. So I'll say this: you'll be surprised, guys, by how many people will actually just say yes to that. The first thing that you say. I mean, I sold a ultimate upgrade to this customer on Saturday last week. They bought a homemaker from me last year with a free shears, 2 years ago, with a free shears. That was the first thing that I asked them for. I said, if you want to do it, I'll buy the shears for you. And they're like, you know what? We got a deal. Literally the exact same freaking thing happened, right? So I'm like, so that's usually what comes in it. Now, if I could do something extra special for you, I was selling them an ultimate upgrade. If I could buy in and do something a little extra special for you, can I show you what I could do? And they're like, what could you do? I'm like, okay, you got these. You don't have any of these gadgets yet. If you pick up 3 of the 5, which ones did you pick up? And they picked up 3. I was like, just because I want you guys to like me more and buy more later, I'll personally buy this, this, and this. So you'll get the full discount off your full homemaker, even though you bought it at a discount. And again, we'll get you all these pieces blocked with 4 extra table knives. And I'll take care of the shipping as well. What do you think? And they're like, you know what? Let's do that. It's the same exact thing. I'm positioning customers to maybe expect maybe something a little extra special, but that's going to be the solidification for them to buy an order. Okay. So what's great about this is, as a part of the federal program, guys, we're literally required to give like 10% off of the, not even the retail, the sale price, right? So this is basically ingrained and basically created a habit in my business. So every time I offer something to get them close to that extra 10% off, I offer it first right away, because we're automatically required. So I'm always like, hey, if I could do something extra special, even giving a shears for free isn't quite the 10% off, right? So I always will mention that, and then I'll be like, on top of that, you know what? I want you to really like me more. I'll buy you a peeler, whatever it is, right? So I started toying with this back in 2017, and it has absolutely worked wonders. Now, I firmly believe, and this is a conviction thing, and again, I don't sell in Texas necessarily, but I believe that 70, 80% of our customers will be heavily incentivized and walk away feeling great when they get free stuff, not an extra discount. Now, for the other 20 to 30% of people who are quote unquote price shoppers, I will usually start the same way. And I say I can't do much on price, but usually those people will be very upfront with you, right? Price shoppers are very straightforward, and that's what I appreciate about price shoppers. Or you have to appreciate them. They'll say something like, well, man, that's a good deal, but could you do it for like $1,100 or $1,000? So again, I'll use the Seth quote, which is, again, I'll always rebuttal, well, what is Cutco? Not Mexico. I can't give it away to you, right? And it works wonders because they always laugh and they always appreciate it. But I follow it up with, well, what you're telling me is if I could lower the price, you'd maybe be open to getting the set. And 99% of the time, an interested client's going to be like, well, maybe, right? And basically what that means, guys, is they're close, and they're really close, right? So I'll start small again. So I don't drop off what they like want necessarily. Like I don't drop $300, right? I try to go a little bit above halfway of whatever they said. Now, most people, if you've done a good pitch, they're never going to lowball you and say, I'll do it for $700. They'll never do that. Most people will be like, well, I'll do it for $1,200, or I'll do it for $1,100, or do it for $1,250, right? Whatever they say, right? So I'll say, so to shoot you straight, Mrs. Jones, again, the only way I can lower the price is by taking a slice off my commission, pun intended. But Cutco only allows us to give like a really small percentage of that. So what I do, guys, and again, Seth see me do it, Kelly see me do it, everybody that's worked at me at the booth see me do it. I pull up my calculator. I know exactly what I'm going to do, by the way, before I even open up my calculator. I'm just sitting there, grimace a little bit, move your head a little bit, scratch your head, look at the stuff they're getting, act, literally act. This is all an act, but you know exactly what you're about to do. So for example, the person says 1,100 bucks. Thank you, Brian. It's very drama included here. So I always say, so here's the deal. I wish I could give you $300 off, but I do have to make a little bit of money because we have to be able to pay for the booth here or whatever you're at, right? So I tell you what, now let me ask you this real quick too. And I always do this kind of as like an aha moment, kind of like plan spontaneity. I'll say, so it sounds like you'd be a little interested in more of a discount. So let me ask you this. Are the shears really important to you? So I've already offered the shears, right? And they're like, well, not really. I mean, the shears are great. So I'm like, okay, so you'd be more, if I could take a little bit off, you'd be more excited about that. So now the shears are off the table, right? Now I'm not giving free stuff and a discount. The free stuff is off the table, right? Now they're taking a little bit of a discount. Okay, so I tell you what, as much as I wish I could just give you the kitchen sink, I can't quite do that. But I tell you what I can do for you is instead of the $1,326, how about this? I could take off $78 off the top of my commission, and I could bring it down to $1,248. And all that would be today would just be $249 a month over 5 months. Now, by the way, guys, I learned this in the book of Art of Negotiation. When you drop a price, make it super specific. So not like $1,249, not $1,269, not $1,279. Make it super specific. So super freaking random. But I usually do $1,248 because that's just a random freaking number. But it's $78 off. That means me giving maybe one table knife and charging myself, or just charging 2 table knives for free and taking a little lower CPO, right? So I asked that. So again, this way you're not giving away all of your cards right away. So you drop it $78 and you say, I tell you what, if you could live without those shears, it could take $70 off, whatever, blah, 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 down to a super specific number. So all that'd be today is $249. So how does that sound? Now, people are closer to than you think. So again, taking $200 or $400 off of a set right away is just not needed, guys. It's something that you got to develop, but it's just not needed. So questions that I often get are, well, how do you know if someone's a price shopper versus a value shopper? Right? And the honest truth is you don't really know until you start asking closing questions and offering, again, to buy items, etc. So I found that I feel like most of you can relate that price shoppers are very quickly to go about asking for an extra discount. So another line that I also use, which is also great, again, the Cutco Mexico thing, is another good line is they say, well, can I get some money off the set? Well, I go, yeah, you totally can. How many do you want to buy? Right? And they'll be like, just one. But they'll laugh and be like, well, and then I say the same thing. Well, just, again, it's all jokes aside, if it's just the one, there really isn't much that I can do on the price of Cutco just because the Cutco sets the pricing. I just sell it. I'm not in charge of how much they charge. But here's what I can do for you. I can take a slice off my commission. So after it's all said and done, let's say they aren't there yet. You want to take advantage of giving take advantage of giving something small and then adding in more items or more money off to solidify the deal. So if they're still hemming and hawing, we're like, oh, they give them a shears, like, I don't know. And it's a pretty busy event. Again, Carlton is what we talked about. It's a busy event. You got to get them in, got to get them out. It's like, I tell you what, I can tell that you guys are really close. And I know if you guys have these, you'd absolutely love them. If I could do something I'm not supposed to normally do, would you guys maybe be open to going for it? Just being like, yeah, let's do it. Right. So again, if I could do something that I'm not normally supposed to do, or I'm not normally supposed to do, all right, would you guys maybe be open to going for it? So I tell you what, instead of just buying you guys those 3 gadgets with the complete set, you know what? As long as you promise me you don't have any one night stands with anyone else, right? I'll just go ahead and replace your guys' whole gadget drawer, and I'll actually buy all 5 of the clear out your drawer set pieces. That way you don't have to ever buy another kitchen gadget again for the rest of your life. It's almost $250 worth of items. So how does that sound? We got a deal? And most people, again, by that time, guys, just say yes. Now, people are still a no. Usually you're just above the budget. By the time you've offered 2 or 3 different things to give them for free, most of the time that just means you're still above budget, right? So asking that question right away, again, like, well, if you wanted it, could you budget for it? That's a great question because it eliminates that problem. So I always say, remember, again, if there's still a no, remember, again, it's always one of 2 things, either too much money or too many pieces. So again, if it's still not there, I'll ask if I could take a little cut off my commission on top of the items I'm buying for you, right? Would that get you to be open to joining the Cutco family? If they say yes, again, they're close as hell. So just giving you their credit card. So just take like $100 off an ultimate set, or $75 off an ultimate set, or $75 off a homemaker. You don't have to give the kitchen sink, right? Now, if they're still like, I'm not sure, or I don't know if I want to spend that much right now, they'll usually give you the actual objection, right? It has everything, and usually it has everything to do with the price. You got to brand. So I tell you what, it sounds like you really like this set, and I can tell you want it, but it sounds like this might be pushing the envelope a little bit. So can I show you an option that you'd still like be getting the majority of the pieces you're excited about, but you'd lower your budget by $100 to $200 a month? Can I show that to you real quick? And then you drop to a Siggy, or you drop to a Galley, for example, from a homemaker. So then I use the piece that they're most excited about in the set that they were just excited about. So for example, I'm dropping from a home or an ultimate to a signature, I'll throw in a boning knife, or I'll throw in a salmon knife, right? And I'll include that with a gadget. So again, you have to remember that people don't know what we usually give for free. So if you drop to a Siggy and give a boning knife and a peeler, they'll still feel good about it, right? It's all about how you position your free items. So that's all I got for you. So if you guys want to ask a couple questions, I mean, I don't know if we're doing that or not, but that's all I got for you. So I'd basically just say the biggest thing again is just remember to, again, or basically just position by saying something, hey, like if I could do something a little extra special, would you be open to it? You'd be surprised how many people that are price versus value shoppers will say what they want when that happens as well. That was my one last thing, Kelly, sorry. It's like they'll say like, okay, well, I mean, could you throw in the shears? And then again, be like, oh, the shears are $120. Well, let me ask you this, and I learned from Josh 8 years ago, which is, well, if I could do that for you, would you be open to just getting it, I guess? And they'll be like, well, if you could throw in the shears, we'd for sure do it. All right, no one knife stands. You got a deal. Shake on it, elbow it, whatever it is, right? So, and again, same thing. If a person says, oh, I mean, could you take $100 off? Right? And usually, again, I've talked to them a little bit, but I'm like, well, there's really not much that I can do on the price. But if you wanted to do it right now, if I could take $100 off my commission to just get you to go for it, would you do it? Yeah, most people are like, yeah, absolutely. I'd do it for 1240, whatever it is. I'm like, yeah. All right, so you got to do. So that's all I got for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Round of applause for Bert Wicks. Nice job. I actually was supposed to be giving you the 5-minute signal, and I was just like so busy taking notes and in it, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. And then I was like, oh shoot, we need to wrap this up. So no time for questions, unfortunately, but that was so good. I'm sure people will reach out if they have any more questions, but that was super helpful. I love the positioning. I love the little, right? If I could do something a little tiny extra special for you, because that's really what it is, and you're setting it up properly instead of overhyping it too much. So I love that approach, and I love getting to the point where like you're at the point with customers where they'll just tell you what they want. Like, oh no, this just isn't gonna fit. You know, it's just pushing the envelope too much. That's an easy way for them to be outward with what the real objection is. Or you get to the point where they're like, hey, could you just throw in the shears too? I love that, you know, most time for me, people walk away just like thinking about it, but we don't know like what really was the issue. So I love that you kind of open that up so customers can share that with you openly. So thank you again, Bert.